What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's been exactly a month since I applied the new ADS Ghost on my tires. And when I was doing that, I also applied two of the tires with the Carpro Darkside to do a side-by-side comparison. So now it's been a whole month. I want to see how each tire are comparing to each other and see the performance between the ADS Ghost and the well-known Carpro Darkside are stacking up against each other. So far, one big notable difference between ADS Ghost and Carpro Darkside is that ADS Ghost is a water-based dressing. So when I applied on it, it dried up instantly. There was no residue left on the tire. So that was a big plus because if you just drive off into the elements, dust and debris are not going to get stuck on your tire because of that oily texture that Carpro Darkside does leave behind. And one complaint that I do have with Carpro Darkside is that it's really easy to over apply or apply too thick, and when you do that, you do have to grab a rag and knock it back down. Otherwise, that oily finish will persist on your tire for days if you don't knock it down, because it just will take forever to cure. And when it's oily like that, it is a little sticky, so dust and debris will stick on your tire a little easier. So that's one thing to watch out with Carpro Darkside. That's why I like applying it with a tire brush. So after a month, Ghost does have a higher sheen to the finish, but under direct sunlight, you really can't see any of that difference between this and Carpro Darkside because that sheen is not as present as it is under the shade. So that's one big thing I noticed is that they're actually pretty similar. So the change in finish with Ghost seems to be more consistent throughout the weeks. Whereas Carpro Darkside, that initial shine does fall back pretty quickly in the first week or two. And after that, it flattens out. So right now, after a month, it's kind of where both of these are very consistent and we can do a fair side-by-side comparison. So like I mentioned earlier, Darkside does have more of that oily finish after you applied it. So you definitely do not want to apply too much on it and just make it as thin and even as possible. So after a few washes, I think throughout this month, I washed it twice with just rinseless wash. And if you feel it, you cannot feel any of that oily finish at all. And the darkness is definitely staying pretty consistent and it's not faded. It's just, it doesn't have as much of that sheen as Ghost would have. And you can especially see that in a shade. But under direct sunlight, not really big of a difference. It kind of looks the same under direct sunlight. So now let's do a quick wash on all of them so we can get the final side-by-side comparison. And there might be a spot right here because I accidentally rubbed the curb a little. So again, with these tire sealants or these solvent-based dressings, I would not use anything stronger than rinseless wash or a very gentle soap on them to maintain them, because the whole point of them is they last a little longer. You don't have to dress over them every time you wash your car. So you don't want to reduce their longevity by using a brush and a strong soap to scrub them down every time, because then it kind of defeats the purpose of using a stronger sealant or solvent-based dressings. So if that's your preference, I recommend just using a regular water-based dressing so you can just dress over it every time you wash it. So it doesn't look like Ghost is rejecting the water as well now. So after a month, Ghost doesn't look like it's beating water as much. It's not as hydrophobic as it was before. So you can see water is sticking on it a little bit more. However, what matters the most is that it is still persisting that nice dark finish and it has faded minimally. So now I'm gonna use my microfiber and just give it a wipe down. And that's the extent I will go to clean my dress tires. Just a light wipe down. You don't have to put down too much pressure, just a light wipe down. You're definitely not scrubbing the tire at all. Just wipe it dry with rinseless. So on the Darkside tire, I will do exactly the same thing. So you can see Darkside is rejecting water a little bit more. It's definitely not beating like day one, but it is definitely beating more than what Ghost is doing. I was wondering how many of you guys have 20-inch wheels, because I've been thinking of upgrading to 22-inch wheels, but my tire sidewall will be a lot thinner and the rim will be much bigger, of course. But my number one concern is actually getting curb rush, because that's gonna make me very sad, especially not having this thick sidewall kind of protecting your wheel. It's much easier to accidentally get curb rash. So let me know what you guys think about that. All right guys, so in summary, I'll definitely say Ghost is a very special tire dressing. I've never seen tire dressing react like that the moment you put it on. First, there's a blue tracer where you can see where you have applied and where you have missed. Now second, after you apply it, about a minute or two, it instantly dries into a crust, and you can put your finger and rub as hard as you can on it. It doesn't come off and it doesn't leave any residue on your finger. So that's very special. Now, in terms of comparison with Carpro Darkside, within the 4 weeks, the one thing I noticed is that with Ghost, the changes are a lot more consistent. Let's say if we look at a graph of the quality of the finish. So for Ghost, over the course of this month, the graph kind of decreases pretty linearly. So it's a consistent decrease. Now, of course, after you apply it, it only decreases, it never increases. Now for Darkside, I would say for the first week or two is where it decreases the most, then it flattens out and steadily kind of decreases a little by little. So at the 1 month mark, I would say both dressings are reaching that point where they're about the same. They don't really look that distinctively different. They both provide a good dark finish on the tire, and they both have a smooth finish that doesn't leave any residue on your fingers. So I could definitely recommend ADS Ghost. It's definitely one of the best tire dressings that I've tried. And in terms of performance, it definitely goes head to head with Carpro Darkside. Depending on how you look at it, it might even beat out Carpro Darkside because of the higher sheen that it leaves behind. So if you guys want to check out ADS Ghost, I'll have it linked down in the description. Now you can either get it from ADS themselves or you can get it from the House of Rags, which I highly recommend because you can pick and choose other brands of products and build up your order to that $125 mark so you can get free shipping. Now you can use my code WheelsRecHere10 to get 10% off on both places. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this has been helpful and informative. Now comment down below, what is your favorite tire dressing? And how often do you like to reapply them? So thanks again for watching, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.